o'clock. Is it recording?
Yes. We are recording.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, October 27th. It's 8 o'clock. The agenda for the Green Bay Public Arts Commission, roll call. Currently, we do not have a chair, but that chairperson's name is vacant right now. Next is Alex Zacharias, Alderman Lynn Gerlach.
Here.
Sorry, what was that?
I said here.
Okay, I thought I mispronounced it. Mr. Chuck Yang can't join us this morning. Kent Hutchinson is present. And Katie Ries is not present. Our liaison representatives, Beth Lemke.
Present.
Matt Vanden Boomen.
Here.
And Rizal Pequero Almonte. Okay. First thing on our agenda, approval of the agenda for the October 27, 2021 meeting of the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? All right, so moved. And approval of minutes from the August 25th, 2021 meeting.
Move to approve.
So, seconded.
All those against? All right, so moved. Regular business. Election of chair and vice chair of the Green Bay Public Arts Commission. Laura, can you help us here?
So this is the, I'll take that.
All
on.
right, sure.
I guess, but my question, okay, we have Katie, good. I was going to say we have two members missing, but now that Katie's a little bit better for electing us. Good morning, Katie. So it's the time of year where you need to elect officers for this committee. The chair position, just to tell you kind of briefly what the chair does, the chair runs the meetings like Alex is doing right now. But then also the chair works with Laura on setting up the agendas and approving those agendas as well. And then the chair is also the public face of the PAC. So we've got, we're installing a piece of art. Usually the chair is asked to maybe say some words or to be present or be interviewed. It can be anybody, quite frankly, on the PAC, but when they ask for names, they ask usually for the chair of the committee. So with that being said, is there anyone that wishes to be chair of the PAC or would like to nominate anyone to be chair of the PAC?
I would like to nominate our very new guest, Katie Ries, as chair.
Thank you. I respectfully decline the nomination.
All right. Is there anyone else that would be willing to serve as chair of the committee?
I will be willing to serve as chair
Yay!
if you would have me.
Could I ask someone to nominate? Lynn?
I happily. Thank you, Lynn. I didn't know you were going to throw your hat in there. So yes, of course, I nominate Lynn Gerlach as chair.
Do we have a second for that nomination?
I second that.
Okay. Cool. All those in favor of Lynn Gerlach being chair of the PAC signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carried. I will turn this meeting over to you, Lynn, to elect our vice chair.
Wonderful. Well, that'll wake you up, right? And I was just saying this morning before the meeting started, I can't remember how I used to look at the people and the agenda at the same time. There had to be a way, so I'll figure that out for next time. I understand this is the last item on the agenda. Is that right, Alex?
Well, we also, I would like, I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I wanted to offer the vice chair position to Katie, if she would be open and willing for that. I don't know if this is the appropriate time for that.
I, again, must respectfully decline. Thank you.
This is, Cheryl, the right time to go ahead and elect a vice chair, is it not?
Correct.
Okay, so as the chair, I would now open nominations for vice chair. Is there anyone else who would like to nominate themselves or someone else? I believe you can nominate yourself, isn't that right?
Correct. Does anyone know where Chuck is? On the, Chuck Yang has been on the board for a while. I don't know if he might be interested in vice chair. I mean, I hate to nominate people when they're not here, but he's been a good member for a while. Alex, you've been doing it for a while. I'd certainly love to have you back if you're willing to do it.
What I would like to do is pass the baton, but if you need me in the interim, I'm here for that. But I'd like to give other folks opportunity.
Okay, so it sounds like Katie is not interested in that. Kent, are you interested in that?
I think I'm in the same boat as Alex. I've already served as chair, so I'd be happy to nominate Chuck when he's back, but also like a temporary basis would be fine.
May I ask, Cheryl, what are they called? Matt and Beth are associate members. Where are they? May they serve as officers? No?
I don't think so, as liaisons. Nope.
Okay, I was going to nominate.
You guys would be great, but
Yeah.
for me, it's right. I guess you could hold this if you wanted to, if we wanted to ask with Chuck. I mean, you can either elect Alex today and then kind of do it again if Chuck is interested at your next meeting. We can nominate Alex and he can continue to serve, and then if that would be all right, maybe that's the easiest way to do it.
And I'm okay with that for the interim.
Okay.
I'd nominate Alex Zacharias for vice chair.
And is there a second? Katie seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Alex, you get to be the vice chair.
Thank you. It's always an honor. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
I
And
appreciate
sorry to put so much pressure on you, Katie, on your very first 5 minutes of, forcing the chairship and the vice chair. I mean, it was unintentional, but I'm happy you're
You
still
can
on.
handle it.
Good. Please continue to come back. We won't do this to you every time. Okay. If we have no other business, then it would be time to entertain a motion to adjourn. When is
No,
our next meeting? No, there's more.
Oh, there's more. There's informational on the agenda.
Oh, see, I can't see the agenda and I've never been the chair of this before. Go
So
for
there's
it.
an informational section. There's coordinators report and project updates, which I think Laura wanted an opportunity to give you guys an update on what's going on. So
Please.
Yeah. Also, well, as Kent said, welcome, Katie. Welcome to the PAC. And yeah, since this is a little bit of a light meeting, we still have our annual election. So thank you all for coming and taking part in that. And then, yeah, we can touch base again at our next meeting about chair position. For informational updates, stuff is definitely happening. It's just not stuff that you guys can really vote on at the moment, but I wanted to kind of give you an update on everything that's been going on. Our park shelter murals that we were working on with Parks Department, you guys had voted on those, I believe in August. Time flies. It's insane. The works that you had selected, we've already received 7 of them. 4 of them have already been installed in the parks. Parks carpenters have been, as they kind of get batches in, they'll go out and install them. So we've received 7 of them. We have 7 remaining, but a lot of those are kind of rolling in this week and early next week. So that's exciting. And then I'm working with Parks Department on getting a map set up to have online so that everyone can kind of visit those. And then we've been discussing about potentially having like some trail runs or something like that to incorporate athleticism and healthy habits with viewing art, which is also good for our health. So that is a park shelter update. This has been kind of off of the radar, but still on my radar at least, for our NEA grant that we had received. I'd mentioned that a long time ago. We had received a grant from the NEA for a shipyard underpass placemaking project. So broad overview, shipyard development is occurring downtown, and part of that proposal we had submitted to the NEA was to really make the underpass a vibrant and welcoming space. We got some money for that, and part of that grant requirement is that we gather community input to develop the RFP for that project. So we actually had our first community input session at the last Ignite Market. We got a really good turnout, I would say. We had it was hard to keep tally, but I'd say we had over 35 participants kind of actively engaging with our booth and inquiring more about the shipyard development and the art that's going to be happening there. And we were collecting more information than just the underpass specifically. We really wanted to get kind of an overall view of what people want to see at the shipyard as a whole as well. So we had our first one. We're going to be having another one, but I'm working out the details with Will and our neighborhoods on that second one. But then as we gather more of that community input, I'll draft the RFP, and then that'll be brought to you guys for review before we send it out. Yeah, Kent, you have a question.
So are you able to elaborate a little? I'm just really curious on what some of those public comments and those public interests are for that area. And broadly, are people recognizing the GBPAC and the work that we're doing kind of in those avenues?
So I think a lot of it, so it was a pop-up city hall, how we set up the engagement. So,
okay.
But I mean, I did provide information as far as like our flyers for the PAC and the programming that we have. So, I mean, they're made aware of it, but it was geared more as like a pop-up city hall.
I got it. Okay.
But as far as the input that we've received, it's been really, everyone has been very pro art. Many naysayers. It was held at kind of an eclectic art market, so that's probably maybe fishing for people who are pro art. But they provided a lot of really great ideas and some ideas that weren't even present on the board, which I think is really good for us to think about as we kind of go on to these next steps. And it was also finding that fine line between gathering community input, but not having it boxed in so much that it becomes restrictive to our eventual artist. I think we've been doing a good job of getting that input and really valuing what our residents are saying, but then also understanding that our eventual artists, they need that room to be able to do their job and to be able to do it well as well.
So Laura, that's where I saw you, right? That was an amazing event. That was so much fun. That area has so much potential. I mean, that was, I took my wife and she said, "Wow, this counts as a date." That was that good. So it was good.
Awesome. And yeah, that's exactly what we want more of in that area. Of kind of like everything, it's kind of stalled out because of COVID, but it's going to definitely start ramping up. And I think we're hopefully definitely going to make some really great stuff happen there. Yeah, Katie.
Is the plan that it will eventually be a mural?
So the project was pitched mostly as like a mural or some sort of like surface sculpture that could kind of be attached to the underpass. And then as well as like really unique artistic lighting. We're somewhat limited in what we can do because it's still going to be functioning as a parking area. Yeah. And we're going to have to work with the I have to work with the DOT on this, so they're going to have to be approving everything as we go along. So we're a little bit limited, like we can't have like insane pyrotechnics or other things like that in there because we just have to maintain safety. But definitely better than a blank underpass, I think.
I have a sort of follow-up question. This may not be the right place for this, but what's the sort of ballpark budget for that portion of the project, the commission?
Yeah. So the grant we had received was 10,000. We have to match it. So at minimum, it'll be a $20,000 project, but I would like to boost that up potentially with some of our block grant funds. But I haven't settled on a final number yet. That's something that our neighborhoods team has to kind of give the final go ahead on.
Okay.
But at minimum 20,000.
But that's 20,000 for the whole project, which would include like the lighting and I hope maybe some of your time, but.
So I won't be paid out of that grant. That
doesn't count for in kind.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Well, yeah, Katie, so Laura's position is already paid for through, is it block grant dollars? Yeah.
Block dollars, federal dollars.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense.
Yep.
And
All
I know that with the city, I mean, just in talks with the mayor and, our department, of course, we're very supportive of public art. So I see money coming towards this project because the shipyard, of course, is a focus with the city of Green Bay. So, I know we're going to have some more money coming towards this project. It's going to take some money to do, a piece of that scale. So we're going to need to find additional funds, but we do have support, I believe.
Yeah, and I do think it's going to occur in phases as well, which was also kind of what we were gathering input on to see what the community was most interested in having, so we can kind of focus on those immediately. And then, we received a lot of input that people want to see art kind of along the river and the trails within the shipyard development, which there's no trails there currently, but once we get trails, that's kind of the first area that we can start looking at after this grant. But yeah, phases for sure. But
Thanks. And congratulations on the NEA grant.
Thank you. Any other questions on that point or comments or anything?
Just that it's so great for that community, that neighborhood, to be able to lift it up like that. That it's just what a great opportunity.
Definitely. Awesome. Okay. Next on my list, this is also in the works, and I want to bring this to our next meeting, is that How to Neighborhood Art Guide that we had discussed previously. I've been collecting a lot of other communities and kind of pulling information. I should have a draft ready for you for review for our next meeting. And then I just wanted to make some little announcements on stuff. If anyone hasn't heard of the NWTC's Artists Journey, that is something that we have partnered with NWTC and Old Main and the Art Garage. It's a monthly free informational series for artists, kind of just getting started out, for artist entrepreneurs, to really get kind of a broad overview of topics. We've already done 2 sessions. The first one was get to know your local arts organizations. Beth was there. But it's really kind of an opportunity for artists to tap into different topics that art entrepreneurs should know, and just get to know more about the local art scene that we have here. So I can share the link from NWTC if anyone is interested, but that is a free series. And we're very happy to partner with all of those wonderful organizations on offering that.
I would appreciate the link, Laura.
Okay. And then also those, they do record them, so they're available afterward as well for anyone to watch on YouTube, which is where they get a lot of their viewership. They have our last one that we just had this month. It was all about calls for art and kind of reviewing a call and how do you know it's right for you. And I think we had about 8 participants at the virtual meeting, but Carrie has said that there's thousands of views following it. So it's definitely getting out there and people are engaging with it, which is fantastic. So I will share a link to that.
I love the idea of onboarding local artists. I think this is a good mechanism. Just if I'm a newcomer and I'm an artist, this is a great resource.
Mm-hmm.
So those are occurring. Our next one is going to be on Tuesday, November 16th, from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Art Garage. It's called Your Artist Stories. It's basically an open mic for artists to share their experiences and get to know other artists. But like I said, I will share that link so you kind of have all of that information. But the next one is going to be Tuesday, November 16th. Another thing to put on your calendar, it's a little bit short notice, but tomorrow evening at 6, we are holding our annual action plan meeting again for discussion of community development block grant dollars. I know a few of you attended that meeting last year to kind of give your 2 cents about how we might spend those dollars. But I can share that link as well. We have a news flash on our website about it.
Yes, please. Thank you, Laura.
And it is Packer night. So you can also submit your comments in writing if you choose to do that. But I think the meeting's early enough that we could get in and out before the game if that's important to anyone. But
who are the Packers? Wait, what?
they're a local football team. They play sometimes in the city. It makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah. They're not the Bears.
They're not the Bears. We know that, right? But it is a
Laura,
Thursday night, so.
What is that date, please?
The annual action plan,
Yes.
that is tomorrow at 6 p.m. and it is virtual.
Okay.
Laura, could I ask a question about the artist journey stuff?
Yeah.
I see coming up in January, there's like get to know your local art galleries. Are you still accepting people to participate? Like I'm thinking of some people who would want to be present as gallery owners or representatives, or is it all pretty set?
I think it might be pretty set, but I think they're open to that. And what we've kind of done for us too is even like for the first panel, we only had 8 of us, but I mean, there's lots of other movers and shakers and players within the community. I think they do provide like some kind of, not handouts because it's virtual, but kind of a summary list of like, hey, there's also all of these other places. So yeah, if you want to send me those, I can shoot them over to Carrie. But I think as far as like the panel that's pretty set.
I mostly just want to, make sure the S&C galleries are represented.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And then I just have 2 other little things that I wanted to touch on. Sorry, lots of announcements. Yesterday was our 5-year anniversary from when the PAC was first started. So
Wow.
it kind of snuck up on me.
Wow.
But I don't really know what to say. It's exciting, and mostly just thank you to Kent and Cheryl and a lot of these people who were right here from the beginning.
Hey, we made it 5 years. We're still going strong. That's a plus.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
When
a lot of that is in part of for your great work, Laura. You've really managed to toe the line here on so many different things. So we're here.
Shucks.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're a rebel.
We were here when it wasn't city, right? Remember when we
That's
started
right, that's
forming
right.
PAC, and now everybody's right. Public art, because Laura's
That's
been able to
it.
put much art up. People are like, hey, we like this.
I wanted to do, when I found out about it, I wanted to do like a yearbook slideshow with like music in the background. Like, look at all these great things we've done. I'll save that for the 10-year because, like I said, it snuck up on me.
Oh no, Laura, we're doing that at some point.
That'll be the next meeting.
Can I request cake also? Like, I feel like we need to have a cake to celebrate this.
When we
Yeah.
did meet, on our anniversaries, I brought in cupcakes, I think, one year, but
That's right. No, I remember that. Yeah,
we
that's fine.
could do a celebratory cake.
Virtual cake? It seems lame.
That brings me to a question I've been wanting to ask. Does this group did you used to meet personally, and will we ever meet face to face again?
I think that's up to the group on the comfort level on whether or not they meet. This is a smaller board. So we used to meet in 604 in City Hall. So I think there's the capability of spreading out on that big table. Some of our committees can't do that. They would fill the board up. So I think there is an opportunity if you would like to meet in person as a board, we could start doing that.
You know, I thanks for bringing that up, Lynn. And one of the reasons I think it is important is because we would typically have people showing up for agenda items from the community, and that has completely stopped. So, you know, except for when we do calls and we review work. So I really would like to provide the opportunity. Maybe we could do both. I know that my wife is working in some realms where they allow in-person and virtual attendance. I think that is like the best of both worlds. So I'd be in favor of moving in that direction.
Yeah, or every other meeting or something like that. That would be an opportunity.
I think it's a little difficult, and Alder Gerlach can attest to this maybe. If we do both, we have to be in the council chambers. And I think there might be, I don't know, I think you guys are all on laptops, I think.
Yeah.
And you're in the council chambers. So I guess it would be your comfort level and how you'd want to do that. You'd be pretty spread out in the chambers.
I didn't realize that the chambers was the only place that could happen. I was in one hybrid committee meeting. It was the first one that was attempted in one of the conference rooms probably about a month ago, and it was a disaster. It just absolutely failed. And they had to bring in as many people as they could quickly and hold the meeting, and the virtual part had to go away. So if it has to be in council chambers, I didn't realize that. So maybe we should hold off for a little bit until we can actually have face-to-face meetings. You know, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. What is the city doing for council? Are they all in the chambers, Lynn? Are you there?
They're hybrid meetings. So last time we had 11 of the 12 council members there, and the other one would have been there, but she was not well. But usually it's about 7 or 8 council members, but the clerk isn't in with us. She's virtual. The city attorney is virtual. We used to have one person come and sit in the gallery. Last time we had probably about 10. It's growing, but and the city staff isn't there. They're all virtual. So it's just the mayor and the council, about most of the council members, and then 2 IT staff just running around like crazy trying to keep everything going.
Yeah.
I think city council is the only committee that meets in-house. All of the other board, like we have, I think 6 in our department: redevelopment authority, plan commission, housing authority. Those are all virtual yet. So I'm not sure much is coming back other than the council in person. But I think the numbers have been going down in Brown County. Is that right?
I think maybe
Lately. So
I'd kind of like to see what the mayor thinks about it too, see if he would advise it. I mean, we don't have to hurry. We can wait a little bit. I just wondered if the rest of you are also interested in meeting in person someday. I've never met you people. When we put up that jellyfish sculpture, I said to Laura, "Oh, look at that man. I think that's Alex. I remember his face."
No, that was a jellyfish. You missed it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lynn. I think I'd prefer to be in person for a number of reasons. But you know, whenever that happens, it happens. And if we got to be masked, I'm totally fine with that.
yeah.
Hey, we'll work toward that. That we'll aspire to that. Okay, Laura, keep going, please.
That's pretty much it for my announcements. The last one was just kind of touching base on our next meeting, which is currently scheduled for November 17th. We bumped that up a week because of Thanksgiving and stuff. Depending on how quickly the drafts of these next items for you guys to review come through. I talked with Stephanie about this, and I think it might be a good idea, because typically in the past our November and our December meetings kind of get canceled or just mostly just canceled because of the holidays. But I do want you guys to review before the end of the year for sure. I just don't know if November 17th is going to work, since we have to have everything in a week prior and all of that good stuff. And it's basically November, like next week. So we might be doing some adjusting on that, and potentially canceling November, but then just bumping it up earlier into December. So then that way we avoid Thanksgiving and kind of keep clear of Christmas too. And I guess I just wanted to kind of get a quick temperature check on you guys as far as your thoughts on that.
December 15th would be your PAC.
Suggest that we put both on the calendar tentatively, and we understand that we'll meet at one of those two dates so that we have them on our calendar.
Okay.
Is December 15th too late, Laura?
No, that should work out good. And if it is too late, then I guess I'll just contact you guys and try and schedule a special meeting earlier. But yeah, that should work out fine. That's it for my updates, unless anyone has any questions or anything else they would like to discuss quickly as far as what I've updated on. And Katie, I will be reaching out to you. I would like to either meet virtually or however you prefer to meet, and just catch you up to speed on this whole group.
Okay.
I got news for you, Laura. You're going to be meeting with me too, because it's time I get caught up to speed too. I have been just taking this very, not very seriously. I show up at the meetings. I vote when you ask me to vote. And now I think I better figure out what's going on. So you'll be meeting with me too.
I think you also started at like peak pandemic. So
I did.
This has just kind of been
in my basement on city council, and I missed the first Public Arts Commission meeting because I think it was the next morning and I didn't even know about it. So yes, I've had a rocky start.
We'll get you all caught up.
Somebody who can see the agenda, please tell us what else we have to do.
Motion to adjourn. I think that's next.
Okay, second to that. Does someone have a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Alex and Katie. Okay, then any opposition? All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, let's adjourn, and we will see you either on November 17th or December 15th, but we will hear from Laura before that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I will send out those links for the meetings and all the other good stuff.
Great. Thanks,
Thank
Laura.
you.
And thanks, Lynn, for taking the hot seat.